did you introduce at DSTI?
Plenty. Across government, new policies. When you look at we had what they call the National Innovation and Digital Strategy. It was a 10-year plan. Now we're at year 5. Majority of the stuff there we've done. But some of the biggest high-impact solutions that people know is the result checker. The result checker that was used at MBSSE was built by DSTI and the engineers at DSTI. And as Chief Innovation Officer, my mandate was to be an advisor to His Excellency
on innovation,
science, technology.
And did you think? Do you think you succeeded in that?
We are working. You don't speak it. The things that we did. People think, I don't know what people imagine, but if you just look at the scale of where we have been as a country for technology, the rapid growth, 3G, 4G, by this year will be 4G everywhere. It didn't happen by random. Fiber, it didn't happen by random. Starlink, it didn't happen by random. The policies of innovation, we set up a new Ministry of Communication, Technology and Innovation. The President's vision to make that Big Five didn't happen by random. How we made solutions, now the switch, that Ministry of the Finance, it wasn't random. The government had a strategic plan. His Excellency had a strategic plan to make innovation centered. Today, about 92% of the people are using 3G and connected. Back then it was 70% or less. We expanded internet access reach rapidly in this country, and there's no part today where if you can't afford it, you can't get access to internet. And these companies have 3G everywhere, pretty much everywhere there's a signal, and it is incredible. It does not compare to other countries. But Major Links, the stuff that we're talking about for digitization in education, when COVID came, transformational for how our kids continue to learn in where they were. So we're not done yet. There's a lot more to do, and I want to congratulate the new COO and director, Jasper Sembi. He'd been there from day one. And I think this is also one of the things that we did at the STI. The STI groomed people. Kumba Musa left and went and became a director somewhere, went to private sector, and now came and is leading the largest tech government solution. The people who left and went and became directors at... And I think
even the current Minister of Communications.
The current Minister of Communication was
Salima
at DSTI, yes. And went. The Minister of Agriculture was a fellow at DSTI.
Okay.
The Deputy Minister of Energy was a fellow at DSTI. There are people who've gone on to...
did you
build capacity.
Did you drive innovation and technology into schools and universities? Because in other countries, they say catch them young. Those who are the schools, those who are the universities. Their brain is young. They're expected to think fast.
We do.
To be innovative.
We do, and we did through MBSSE and the curriculum change. But look, 10 years ago, when we didn't know how people would say I'm an innovator and an entrepreneur. The people who did that, we knew all of them. I knew them by name. And the people who were in the ecosystem, we know them by name. Whether it was Maurice Mara or Francis Stephen George or Mahmoud Bombo or Edmond Nuni or Suna Kylie, we knew these people by name.
Okay.
And they're still in the space. These are people who helped. They were far and few in between. And then you had more entrepreneurs coming and building and demonstrating solutions. Yeah. Saltin Masali. You had my brother who's at Fix Solutions. I just saw him yesterday. And just lots and lots of people who came. And today, entrepreneurship and innovation is a buzzword, but it's a true buzzword. These people actually are innovating and it didn't come by random.
Okay. After this year, you found yourself in another new position. The president appointed you as Minister of Basic and Senior Secondary Education, succeeding Alpha Timbo. The issue of ICT also, innovation also, you took it to the Ministry of Basic and Senior Secondary Education. And education is a flagship program of the president, especially during his first term. He introduced the free education and what have you. When you came in as the Minister of Education, in terms of innovation and policy changes, what did you bring?
I think the one blessing as well that I have is that His Excellency is my greatest mentor, and I don't say it out of turn. I say it because I truly mean it. Before I went there, I had the privilege again to be talking to him every day when I was at State House, and there's no time in which he wasn't talking about education. And so the ideas and the principles and vision that I went with to MBSSE are things that I knew His Excellency championed and were aligned with. And the first thing we did was to introduce what we call the guiding principles of our work. Universal access, that's what FQSC was about. Quality teaching and learning, because teaching and learning was important. Radical inclusion, because we had to reach everybody. And comprehensive safety. Once we settled that comprehensive holistic safety on those, then it became absolutely important for how we did the transformation. So everything we did was based on that in a truly inclusive way. And digitization and connectivity also were major things. Impact, lots, but here's one that I'm super excited about that just came out a couple months ago. And so in 2019, so the link with DSTI and education. In 2018, the president and I were in New York, and I interviewed the president and Bill Gates on stage at what they call the Goalkeepers. In 2019, the president and I went to South Africa on what they call Global Citizens. And in South Africa, we signed with the Gates Foundation what they call the Human Capital Development Government Incubator, the first they did with any country, and we did it in Sierra Leone. The president was there. In 2019, later on, I became Minister of Education, and we then used that to seed, test, and scale what we call the HCD Incubator on Education. And we developed solutions that we as a government finance to test some innovative ideas across schools.
And what were these ideas?
Different ways of community engagement, community practice of teachers, introduction of technology in classrooms. And then we did this, and then 2021, we developed what they call the Education Outcomes Fund. The largest outcomes education fund in the world was done in Sierra Leone. I think at the time it was $18 million, 18 or $20 million, largest in the world. And there we were testing these ideas that we started from 2018 that we seeded. And now to see how we can scale them, and it was a very open, competitive process. And those schools, hundreds of schools across the country, then rolled out those innovations. Now, the interesting part is the results came, and we did a baseline across, so control schools, non-control schools, and they rolled out the solutions. The results that just came now show that the learning outcome in these schools are equivalent to an extra year of learning in the best schools in sub-Saharan Africa. Incredible. Athens of West Africa, what the president said, that's where we are today. The ideas that we seeded and tested, not by us.
So was that to debunk those who held the view that the free education, many people question the quality aspect of it.
Yeah, people think quality is a switch. You go switch off, on, off. There's no quality, lights don't go. Quality, lights don't come. That's not how education works. Because it's generational, quality is not a single unit. It's multiple indices, learning outcomes, school facilities, teacher training, all of that. It's comprehensive part of learning outcome. So if you take each one of those indices, metrics, and you plot them, quality is the change, is the improvement that happens. So, and I say this to people who are critics, to say every single metric, when I mean every, 100%. On every metric, we are better today than we were yesterday. That's quality, that's improvement. You always want to improve more. You always can get better. There's nobody, even in Finland now, every country, you have to always get better. There is no indicator in basic and junior secondary education in which we're not better in 2023 than 2022, than 2021, than 2019, than 2018. None. And so when people say, oh, there's no quality, it's a shortcut answer of saying, I don't have hope. I don't believe that there's progress. I don't want to see that there's progress. We see hope. We see hope. We experience it in the children.
Okay.
Today, I'll tell you an example. I was walking down State Avenue. I went down to Nassit to do some work. And I'm coming back. These children, I meet them at the gate, at the security gate. They're arguing. There's one of them who's talking and explaining. And so I stand there. They don't know me. These are primary school children. And I stand there, I listen to them. And they were explaining to this soldier who was sitting down at the gate. There's a child, she has a small cut on her. And this one is explaining what happened between these two, and they're both explaining, and then at the end they shake hands, they make peace, they sit next to each other in class. The level of civic engagement and participation, that is quality learning, that's quality human behavior that I saw there. How do you capture that and represent and say there's no quality education?
Okay, I mean, you still with the education, your days as education minister, the issue of radical inclusion when pregnant women were allowed to
Pregnant
girls were allowed to go to school. I mean, that was something very sensitive in our culture. Some opposed to it, but you held the view that pregnancy should not be a barrier. What was your conviction?
I think the one thing I have done as a leader, and again I thank His Excellency for allowing me to do that, is I've always challenged the status quo and transformed every place that I've been to. Every. When we came at the STI, people said, oh, no one talk about technology. Now, eats one, eats we hungry. And today, nobody will tell you that they don't want technology. Nobody will tell you that. We changed it. Then in 2018, when I went to the studio, people were laughing at me when I used the word data. Today, nobody speaks without asking about data. And I have videos of that. In 2018, people told me that we know they eat data. What's this data and technology business? 2018, we stuck to it, we transformed society, change. When I went to MBSSE, and I remember my first set of meetings in those halls, in my management meeting, I told them that we had to change the policy that said pregnant girls cannot go to school. And with all due respect, and I write about this in the book, the day I was appointed, my president, His Excellency, publicly said that pregnant girls should not go to school. I went back with him and I spoke to him at lunch and we had a conversation and he said, I'm willing to listen. That's what leadership is. He's my greatest mentor, as I said. We're willing to learn and change. Now, the people everywhere thought, my mother did not think it was right. My sister did not think it was right. My staff, my EA did not think it was right. But I had a conviction.
What was that?
The conviction is it doesn't matter who you are. A boy, a girl, somebody who's poor, somebody who's from a different religion, somebody who's in a hard-to-reach area, somebody with a learning disability. And what President Bill said was that through free quality education, everybody should learn and reach your utmost potential. We cannot say we believe that, and then we exclude.
But some people say the example it sets. I mean, girls will see it as normal thing to be impregnated and continue your schooling.
4 years later, what they thought did not become true. That's it. Our minds think. Do we see pregnant girls left and right today in school? No. They were afraid that that's what will happen because they didn't know and they didn't imagine. Even though we tell them that in other countries this is not the case, it's not going to happen and the opposite will happen. But for me, here's what I told people. In church and in mosque, pregnant girls sat next to non-pregnant girls. We don't say it's right. We criticize fornication is a sin. But we allow them to sit there. We don't put them in a separate church. We don't put them in a separate mosque. So in the marketplace, we have pregnant girls sitting next to non-pregnant girls where children are. But worse, in our homes, we don't have a separate room for the pregnant girls from the non-pregnant girls. So if in our houses, where these children spend the most time, they sleep in the same room and the same bed, they are not influencing each other, why would we think that in the school they will be influenced the same way? That's public space. The offices are public spaces, but we don't discriminate against them. It's that we have people, it's okay and it's allowed, they just didn't imagine it is. We knew, because in other countries this was the case, when nobody will go and do it. And those girls didn't just wake up and say, I want to do it. The most important part, which is what changed His Excellency's view, it was double victimization. These girls, that's why emphasize pregnant girls. Pregnancy does not make them women. And there was this challenge that people said, oh, pregnant women. No, they were girls still. They were raped. We had a law that says if you sleep with a minor, then it's a rape. And so how then do we say, this girl has been raped, she's a victim, but we're going to punish her again as a victim by removing her from school, and she can never continue her education again? The number of girls who were dropped out, who never continued their education because of that, was high. And here, it became a case then where we say, no, you're a victim. You were raped by law. And we're not going to double punish you and for you to go and do something worse. We will make sure you continue your education, because in 9 months you'll have a baby. And we'll make sure you don't die from that baby, that birth, because we're looking at you and we can direct you to the appropriate care. In the past, you send them out of school, they go to the corner, they go and die. We subjected our children to victimization, to going out of school into some corner in the village and to go and die because we weren't looking at them. That is not justice. And so we then said radical inclusion. These girls might be in school. Kids with disabilities. All these children. I went to school with blind people at Prince of Wales. But nobody cared about them. The blind kids never had Braille exams until we brought it. When I was at MBCC, we brought Braille exams. Up to today, they take the exams in Braille. It's simple. It's just leadership.
Okay. Olivia, he is Dr. David Moyni Asenge, the Chief Minister.